Last night, we were taping our show when we got the terrible news that Robin Williams had died, and reacted pretty much, we were stunned and talked about it a little bit with Will Arnett here on the show. But it's an impossible thing to process, obviously, and here we are now 24 hours later, and it felt appropriate just to take a moment here and talk about this absolutely incredible man, how he touched all of our lives. Yeah. Really. Such a fantastically funny guy. And everybody knows that side of him. What I think a lot of people don't know, and you're starting to hear all these stories come out now, is how crazily generous. He was so generous, such a nice person.
Yeah. And not just in a material way, but with his time. I mean, you know, he spent so much time entertaining the troops, which I didn't really know about, which means, because he didn't talk about it.
He didn't talk about it.
He didn't talk, he just did it. Whereas there's, you know, it's not, he didn't do it for publicity.
Right.
He did it because, and I think the Department of Defense even, you know, issued a statement in gratitude for all the work that he'd done for the troops.
He was generous in so many ways. He just had such a generous spirit as well.
Yeah.
You know, Robin, I knew Robin just in show business, and we did a few projects, benefits and things together, and he'd been a guest on the show, and for my money, best talk show guest ever, probably. Just really brilliantly funny, and that's obvious to everyone what a brilliant talent he was. But just as a quick example of what he was like, a bunch of years ago, 5 years ago, I went through publicly kind of a bump in the road, and I was feeling a little low. Out of the blue, Robin Williams buys me a bicycle. And it sounds like a silly thing, you know? Like, he was the first person to buy me a bicycle since my parents bought me a bicycle when I was 35. But I was, you know, kind of low, and Robin loved to ride, and I loved to ride, and he bought me a bicycle, but this is so Robin Williams. He bought me this bicycle, and he had it delivered to my house, and it was the most absurd bicycle you've ever seen.
It looked like a Mardi Gras parade.
It did.
It was beautiful and it really top-notch.
Yeah, but it was bright orange and bright green and had shamrocks on it. So I called Robin up to just, I mean, who does that? I didn't know him well enough to justify this kind of, you didn't get me anything, and so
I knew you had a bike.
So I called him up and I just said, Robin, I'm floored by this bike. And all he would say is like, well, I know you ride and I knew you could use it. And he went, does it look ridiculous? Does it really look ridiculous? And I said, yeah, it looks ridiculous. He went, good. Do you really look stupid riding it? And I said, yeah, I'm gonna look really stupid. He's like, well, then that's good then. He had just that amazing spirit of fun, the generosity, but also the fun at the same time. And so often I would just, you know, look at that silly bike and think, what a wonderful spirit. What an amazing spirit. And we know now that he had his battles, he had his and I think it's very courageous. I think it's particularly courageous for someone to be that generous of spirit in the face of that kind of depression. I just such a lovely, special man. We wanted to do one thing tonight, which is you can talk about Robin, or you can just let him have the floor. So we put together just a few moments from his visits with us over the years, and we thought it might just be nice to go back and have a visit.
Absolutely.
So let's do that right now.
I had a parrot once, and do not, in any form, put them in your bedroom because you think, well, it'd be lovely to wake up to the parrot.
Yeah.
Because they hear everything.
Yeah.
And you'll have the bird out, and it'll one day be sitting there, and it'll be, oh, you're what a lovely bird, and the bird will go, not in the ass!
This is the hairiest man I've ever seen in my life.
It is frightening. It is an amazing thing. I've actually been at the zoo and had monkeys go, what are you doing outside? Occasionally I've had to do a thing with it, you know, for certain movies I've had to wax, and I had a lady
You've done that, actually?
Once, and it was like this woman halfway through said, do you mind if I take a break? You feel like you should have like people on your back going, nobody knows the trouble I see, taking their hair off Robbie. So I'll tell you, dear Conan, have a stiff drink, or maybe have a really long talk. For the executives at NBC, the bastards that can't take a joke! The bastards that can't take a joke! The bastards that can't take a joke! The bastards
Indeed. He's the best talk show guest in the world. He's Robin Williams. Thank you very much. Best talk show guest in the world. Robin, thank you for so many deliriously funny moments and for so much happiness that you brought so many people. We'll take a break. When we come back, Damon Wayans Jr. is here. We'll see you in a second.